Once upon a time, there was a 13-year-old girl named Lee. Now, Lee was the kind of girl who loved to do things her own way. She often got lost in her own little world, dreaming and drawing, but that didn't mean she was a rebel. In fact, she was a very obedient daughter. She loved her parents deeply and did exactly what her mother asked of her. Lee wasn't alone, though. She had 3 best friends who were always by her side: Miriam, Abby, and Priya. Like most girls their age, they lived for one thing: a boy band called Four Town. They knew every lyric, every dance move, and their biggest dream was to see them live. When Lee wasn't at school or with her friends, she was at her family's temple. It was a beautiful place dedicated to their ancestor Sun Yi. Because it was so historic, tourists came from all over to visit. Every single day, Lee helped her mother maintain the temple. She even acted as a tour guide, telling the visitors all about their family's proud history. One day, while watching TV, Lee saw the news she'd been waiting for. Four Town was coming to their city. She was so excited. She ran to tell her mother how talented and famous the group was. She mentioned that all the girls at school were fans, but her mother's reaction wasn't what she expected. Her mother warned her to stay away from that kind of thing, telling Lee that she was different from the other girls. That night, things got weird. Lee had a terrifying nightmare filled with strange animals. When she woke up and looked in the mirror, she screamed. She hadn't just woken up with messy hair, she had transformed into a giant red panda. Panicking, she gripped the sink, trying to tell herself it was just a bad dream. Her mother heard the noise and knocked on the door, asking if she was okay. Lee shouted back that she was fine, then rushed to her room as soon as her mother walked away. She lay on her bed, breathing hard, repeating over and over that she would wake up soon. As she started to relax, a miracle happened. She slowly changed back into her normal human self. That's when she realized the secret. Whenever she felt strong emotions, if she got too angry, too sad, or too excited, the panda would come out. From that moment on, Lee tried her absolute best to stay calm, but school made that hard. Her friends noticed she was acting very strangely, jumping at every little noise, but Lee couldn't explain why. To make matters worse, a boy at school started teasing her, just like he always did. Lee felt that familiar heat rising. The panda was trying to get out. She bolted to her classroom to hide. Miriam followed her, asking if she was all right. Lee insisted she was fine, but then Miriam pointed out the window. Lee's mother was right outside, hiding suspiciously behind a tree to check on her. Lee's mother ended up getting into a loud argument with a school guard. The embarrassment was too much. Lee lost control, and poof, she transformed into a huge red panda right in front of everyone. Terrified and ashamed, Lee fled the school and ran all the way home. Her mother followed close behind. When she found Lee crying in her room, she tried to comfort her. While they were talking, Lee's father arrived. He looked at his daughter and said something that shocked her. This had happened to him too. Lee was completely confused. Later, her mother took her to the temple to explain the real family history. She told Lee about Sun Yi, who loved pandas. Long ago, during a war when the men were away fighting, Sun Yi made a special wish to protect her daughters on the night of a full moon. Her wish was granted, giving her the power to turn into a beast. She became a giant red panda and used her strength to save her family. But over time, this gift became a curse. It was passed down to every woman in the family. They all transform when their emotions shift. However, there was hope. Her mother explained that on the night of a full moon, they could perform a ritual to trap the panda spirit inside a special piece of jewelry. Her father told her the next full moon was on the 25th. Until then, she had to stay calm. Her parents even prepared a safe space for her to rest so she wouldn't break anything when the panda took over. Lee was devastated. She cried, wondering why this was happening to her, frustrated that she kept poofing every time she got upset. Suddenly, she heard voices. Her friends were outside her window. Lee told them she couldn't see them, but they wouldn't leave. They excitedly shouted that Four Town was officially coming to town. They refused to go until they spoke to her. Worried and stressed, Lee transformed again, but she eventually let them into her room. At first, her friends were frightened by the giant furball, but Lee calmed them down and explained everything. And then, something beautiful happened. Her friends hugged her. They told her they loved her whether she was a human or a giant panda. In that moment of pure love, Lee felt so safe that she transformed back into a human. She realized something huge. She could now control the spirit. She was overjoyed. If she could control it, surely she could go to the concert. but they still needed permission. Lee tried to prove to her parents she was in control. After putting her through several tests, they finally believed she had mastered it, but her mother still said no. She refused to let Lee go to the concert. Lee went to her room in a rage. Meanwhile, her mother received a phone call. It turns out, even Lee's mother was terrified of her own mother. Lee's grandmother called to say she knew about the situation and was coming to visit to fix it. But Lee and her friends weren't giving up. They needed money for tickets, so they came up with a plan. They would charge kids to see the red panda. It worked. They made viral videos and sold panda-themed merchandise. But they were still a little short on cash. That's when the boy from school showed up. He was having a birthday party the next day and had promised everyone the red panda would be there. He threatened to tell Lee's mother about their secret business if she didn't show up. Lee agreed, but only if he paid her. The next day, just as Lee was getting ready for the party, her grandmother and cousins arrived. They all knew about the curse. Lee felt trapped. That night, she managed to sneak out to the party. She entertained the crowd, and everyone had a blast. But back at home, the secret was unraveling. Her mother checked Lee's room and found the hidden money, the merchandise, and the party invitation. She saw the empty bed. She knew. Meanwhile, Lee and her friends were celebrating because they finally had enough money. But then, a sudden announcement crashed their party. The concert was on the 25th, the same night as the ritual. Distraught, Lee transformed again. She told her friends they couldn't go. The boy from school rudely demanded she keep performing since he paid her. Furious, Lee lunged at him. Just then, her mother arrived. She was horrified by the chaos. The children screamed, terrified of the giant panda. Her mother immediately blamed Lee's friends, calling them a bad influence. Her friends begged Lee to tell the truth, to say it was her idea, but Lee stayed silent. Lee returned home, and her friends, heartbroken, eventually went to the concert without her. The night of the ritual arrived. Lee was placed in the center of a large circle. As the family chanted, Lee's spirit began to float. She was transported to a mystical realm where she met the ancestor, Sun Yi. Sun Yi showed her a mirror and told her that if she stepped through it, she would leave the panda behind forever. But as Lee looked at the mirror, she stopped. She remembered the laughs with her friends. She remembered the feeling of being strong and free. She realized she didn't want to lose the panda. She actually enjoyed this part of herself. She tried to back out, but her family tried to push the ritual forward. Her mother pleaded with her, saying that ending the curse was for her own good. But Lee broke free, and the force was so strong it shattered her mother's enchanted jewelry. Lee rushed to the concert. She found her friends and apologized for everything, and for a few moments, they finally enjoyed the music together. But the peace didn't last. Suddenly, the ground shook. Lee's mother, consumed by her own inner panda, transformed into a colossal beast, much bigger than Lee's, and crashed the concert. The crowd fled in terror. Her mother grabbed Lee, screaming that she was being disrespectful. Thankfully, Lee's father and the rest of the family arrived to set up a new ritual circle. It was hard to get the giant mother panda into the lines, so Lee and all her aunts transformed into pandas to help pull her in. Together, they sang the ritual song and returned to the spirit world. In that quiet, mystical place, Lee's mother finally apologized. She admitted she had been too controlling and that Lee was strong enough to walk her own path. One by one, the grandmother, the aunts, and the mother passed through the mirror, giving up their panda spirits for good. But when it was Lee's turn, she stayed. She chose to keep her red panda spirit. Her mother, with a smile of true pride, accepted her choice. The family was finally at peace. Today, if you visit the temple, you'll see Lee giving tours, happily embracing who she is, ears, tail, and all.